I'm very fortunate today to sit here with Johan Jacobs. He's an old friend of mine, but more than that, I'm so inspired by his life story, and I really wanted him to come and share that with you today. He's written a book, it's your life story, and this is the second edition, and a very, very inspiring book. Tell our readers your story.
Daleen, I never thought I would ever write a book, and I was a happy mechanical engineer, and at the age of 30 I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And to make a long story short, at the age of 34 it turned into primary progressive multiple sclerosis, and it became so aggressive that it left me crippled, and I was declared medically unfit for work with no hope of recovery. At the age of 34, I suffered to control my bladder. I could hardly walk. I knew that a wheelchair was my destiny, and I couldn't tie my shoelaces or buttons, and I know my boat was sinking, and highly emotional, 5 times a day emotional outbreak, because I knew I know my boat was sinking. So it was literally by grace that I discovered this information, because in that period, while I was deteriorating, I did a lot of things and I made a lot of mistakes. And at the 11th hour, I discovered what actually causes multiple sclerosis, but I could never make peace. You know, as an engineer, you have a cause and an effect mindset, and I could never understand how will the body kill its own central nervous system, which is controlling the whole body. It's so amazing, and I couldn't make peace of that. So people said, Johan, there's nothing that we can do about it, and we haven't discovered. They go to conferences, these neurologists, but every year, every second month that I went there, they told me, listen, Johan, we still haven't got a clue. And as I've said, but at the 11th hour, I was exposed to this book, and this information, Solving the MS Mystery, Help, Hope and Recovery. And this year, it's now my 13th year of recovery, 13 years of recovery. Wow. From aggressive, advanced stage where I was clinically declared medically unfit for work. So that is the last stage, and normally it's terminal. And as I said, by grace I discovered the truth. The truth has literally set me free. The truth is that everybody's body is engineered to win. It's a self-healing entity. So we're also a self-cleaning entity. So we're also a self-maintaining entity. The food that you eat, you look at your food and you see your food is your future, because that food is going to become part of you.
It's a beautiful saying. That should be a bumper sticker. Food is your future.
Yeah, food is your
future. Very true.
And so I never knew all this information. I can't understand that there's no curriculum where there's common sense things that tell people, listen, how to take control of your health. So
you're just a normal man in the street eating junk food, being unaware of the effects on your health.
Yes, I was the normal guy on the street that thought, listen, these food scientists at university, I've studied at university, I regard that if they develop something like, say, they develop knickknacks, that the yellow coating on that knickknacks might be a dried carrot juice powder, which will be healthy for you. But long and behold, I didn't know that all these preservatives and it was actually not good for us, and all these artificial colorants. And we take food today, and with the lack of immediate effects, we conclude that it's safe for you. So
sure, someone must look after us. You know, someone needs to check that the stuff is safe. So when the packet and it's on the shelf, I can just eat it. It's fine.
I was convinced that if it's in a packet, it went through a food scientist, and it would be 100% safe, and it would be nourishing for the body. I was really awakened with what actually is being fed to people and what is allowed on the shelf. This he discovered in detail, how mercury is released from mercury amalgam fillings. They actually call it silver amalgam fillings, but by mass and to be fair, it's 52% mercury by mass, that silver or mercury filling in your mouth. So I had 10 of those, and approximately 10 microgram of mercury per day per filling. So multiply that by 10. I was literally smoking a mercury cigar every day with 100 micrograms of mercury. And mercury is fat soluble. It clings to fatty tissue. It makes that nerve tissue. It hits the nerve cell, and then the nerve cell looks foreign to the immune system. And then the immune system see this foreign-looking cell in the brain, and then your own immune.
Most of the fat is sitting in the brain.
Yeah, your central nervous system is approximately 70 fatty tissue. So
70% of your brain is fat.
It's fat, yeah. And so mercury loves fatty tissue. It clings.
What did you do when you were reading this? Did you run around looking for a dentist that could remove the amalgam filling safely from your mouth? I'm sure you've had that done, right?
Yeah. What happened with me was I did it the wrong way around.
Without a rubber dam?
With no protection, I removed all my fillings.
Okay.
Because I've heard somebody was saying, listen, these fillings are dangerous, and without proper knowledge, I went to a normal dentist, not a biological safe dentist. I went to a normal dentist, and he drilled it out for me without a rubber dam, without a mask, without oxygen.
One shot?
Without preparation. Over a period of 4 months, basically.
Okay.
And after the last filling were removed, a week later, all of a sudden I couldn't run anymore. Running is a lifestyle for me. It was a lifestyle, and when I went jogging, all of a sudden I fell, and then I fell again. And what I didn't know, but what obviously my experience, what I've seen is that when you drill the filling, when this is a mercury filling and you drill on it, that drill is running at such a high speed, at plus minus 25,000 RPM. So the mercury is still in a liquid state, and it's not molten with all the other metals in that mercury filling. And then that friction causes a hurricane of mercury fumes that you inhale. So what I've did is the mercury that should have been released over a period of 10, 20 years, I've inhaled within 4 months. I've inhaled all that mercury fumes, big volumes, and so I had 4 big spikes of mercury toxicity over that period when I removed those fillings. And in the late 50s, that these people in Japan were poisoned. There's a fishing community, and they ate the fish, and they didn't know that upstream that the river, the estuary, were so polluted with a factory that dumped a mercury catalyst into the river, and it dissolved in the river, become part of the food chain and the plankton and the food, and almost all the people in Minamata had Minamata disease. But if you look at the symptoms of Minamata disease,
it's MS.
It was mercury toxicity. Now mercury toxicity and multiple sclerosis for me is the same thing. Now why do we allow these mercury fillings so close to your brain? That's my question.
Ignorance.
I think it's a crime against humanity, this whole amalgam thing.
Sure. I am stunned after so many years of us becoming aware, and me having had my own fillings removed about 16 years ago, that there are still not enough biological dentists around. They're very, very hard to find in South Africa.
Yeah.
So what happened after your year and a half when you had the mercury fillings removed? How did you get back up again? Because clearly you recovered.
Sure, it was quite a long road. It was about 3 years, and at that stage I was very weak on my right hand side, and I had chronic fatigue, and so I was very weak. And obviously when I turned away from the vegan lifestyle, and when they started to detox me from mercury, that same month I went a month to Living Valley Springs in Australia, and that same month I didn't go down anymore. Remember, at that stage I had a new symptom of MS every week, and it was a lasting. It will stay there. It will not go away. If you have relapse remitting multiple sclerosis, you get a problem, and your hand may be lame or whatever your problem, but it will, within a month or so, it will disappear, and that's relapse remitting. But at primary progressive, you get new symptoms weekly, and they remain there, and it's actually just putting you down continuously.
I just want to stress the fact that you went to a center with qualified practitioners to assist you to detox that mercury, because you can't just go on any detox fad and think you're doing it. You're doing yourself, your body a favor here. It's dangerous.
Yeah, and since I've changed to a real hunter-gatherer lifestyle, with ample amount of good fats in it, the MS progression just stopped in its tracks.
Sure.
And I could feel I was still weak and I was still very tired, but weekly I would get small things back, and and it was just so amazing just to that your body starts getting its old functions back, and
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you were free of mercury at that stage. Then the detox worked, and you had tests done to show you had no more mercury in your system.
Yeah, Dr. Huygens did a lot of extensive tests, and so they do a complete blood analysis and everything just before you go there, and just before you leave, they also take a full blood count of you, and hair analysis to check your mercury levels, and but to detox from mercury, it's a lengthy period. You cannot detox from mercury, especially if you did what I did and removed your milk and fillings wrong. It takes a long while. It took me 3 years of chelation, but just on and off slowly, on and off slowly. Don't go too harsh on your body and chelate too fast. So there's different chelating agents, and some of the chelating agents really it does not work. It's like emptying a big dam with a little straw. You're never going to get that dam empty. So what I've used is demercaptosacinic acid, which is DMSA.
Yeah.
Low dosages. I've started with 25 milligram, and I built it up to 100 milligram a day.
Over what period?
Over a period of 3 months.
Right.
And then what I did then is I've started introducing other chelating agents as well, and combine a couple of chelators. So if the DMSA is not going to get you it, I've chelated with alpha-lipoic acid, I chelated with malic acid, alpha-lipoic acid, malic acid, and there's a product Metalloclear, which is basically curcumin extract. But the most important thing is to live a diet and lifestyle that will help you chelate, because you know what, if your gut is not healthy, and if your gut is such a complex organ, and if most people with autoimmune problems and multiple sclerosis have a leaky gut. Now, a leaky gut is like you have a window without burglar bars, so the enemy can just enter in your bloodstream via your gut. So, but if your gut is so intelligent, some people have mercury fillings, but they will never get multiple sclerosis because the gut is in a healthy condition, and the mercury cannot enter because there's burglar bars, and the mercury won't enter into your bloodstream. And yeah, so if you want to chelate, there's a certain diet and lifestyle to follow at least a month before that.
And this is all in your book?
That's all my book, and that I call Johan's recovery protocol. People get hold of you, and they've heard of your story, and so I've helped people to recover from multiple sclerosis as well. And they follow these type of protocols, and it helped them to get freedom again. We've got a winning entity. The inner doctor in your body is there, and everybody have the same inner doctor. You just need to discover how that inner doctor is working. And my book is also an attempt to understand what you've got.
Guys, I've read this book, the first edition, half the size. I look forward to reading the rest of it. It's an incredibly inspiring book, and it's an absolute fountain of knowledge and just a wealth of information. So thank you so much for sharing your story and for coming onto this channel.
Oh, thank you. It was a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you so much.